welcome. Thank you for joining us. As you can see, there's a chat as well. But we're the main focus. You can ignore them.
Ja, Engels. Sorry, ik begrijp een beetje Nederlands. Maar voor
Ouf. Notre français n'est pas très bien aussi. So, English easiest for you?
I think yes.
Yeah, it's easiest for us as well.
Okay.
Well, not really, but hey, it's fine for us. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Jolyon Leonard. I'm the creative department manager at Vertigo Games in Amsterdam. And my job is, the job title is not immediately obvious what I do. I like to describe myself as having the responsibility for the health, wealth and happiness of the team, the creative team.
Not unimportant.
No. And it involves kind of coaching, mentoring people, helping them grow, and recruitment, and making sure that people are kind of doing work that they're best suited to. And that also involves recruitment as well, making sure we have the right people that join the team. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. But prior to that, I was a games designer.
Oh, wow.
And for 25 years, I applied my craft.
Yeah, so you're really old school. What's the oldest console you used or device you used to work?
My first job in the industry was working on a PC game.
Yeah.
And I started as an artist. And I basically sat there with a piece of graph paper and I worked out the position of my vertices and I wrote them into a text editor.
Ooh.
And then I wrote down what my polygons were going to be.
Yeah. So you already did 3D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the interface for it was it was rough.
It was.
I didn't catch your name because I want to give you the lower third. So.
That's because I've got a Jolyon. I'll spell it for you. It's Joly. O-N, that's my first name. Jolyon, it's an old English name, derivation of Julian. And my surname is Leonard, like Leonard.
Leonard,
yeah.
All right, perfect. So what's the oldest game that you worked on then?
I think the first game I worked on was F-16 Aggressor, which was a PC game published by Virgin in 1996.
I think we had that one. Was it like a big silver box?
Well, everything came in a big silver box back
then. I remember an F-16 silver box game that we used to have on PC.
No, I think it was a kind of a top-down view of a kind of an F-16 being an F-16. I worked on that doing some environment art, and then I worked on a game that only got released in America called Wings of Destiny, which I had a lot of fun. I did some writing and stuff there, and I really sort of switched into being a designer at that point because we kind of knew we wanted to make a flight sim and it had to be fun, and that's all we had. So I kind of filled in the gaps and just kind of stepped in. And it was weird because I was also kind of known, are you a producer? Are you a project manager? What is this thing you're doing?
Well, back in those days, everybody wore multiple hats, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think, in most small studios that's still a fact, but back in those days it was basically the Wild West, right?
Yeah, and also sort of because the team sizes were much smaller as well. We were making games with like 7 or 8 people.
Yeah, it's insane.
And that was considered
pretty big.
Team. Yeah.
Big team.
Yeah, because then especially in the UK, there were so many studios coming from basically garages that then grew into like small studios. But the attitude was still as if they're in a garage, right?
We were in an old house.
An old house. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, and then Vertigo Games.
Yeah.
What do you make?
We make VR, the best VR.
All right.
The very best VR.
I think I knew some people who worked for you.
Yeah, well, we have 2 studios. We have a checkered past, and so I come out of the Amsterdam studio.
Yeah.
And that's really my field of expertise. I can talk a little bit about the wider group as well and being part of Player and the Embracer group and so on. And they're a great bunch of guys. I've worked with a whole bunch of people that are now there in Rotterdam from my previous roles, both in the Netherlands and the UK. And it's a great outfit, and I like the fact that we are still here making VR. I think a lot of people thought it disappeared. The market wasn't really going to establish itself. Yeah. But I'd say it is, and we're making the good stuff. So that's I think that's the headline really.
I think it's very interesting because here in Belgium, a lot of the more let's say there are a lot of studios here also working with VR because it's an industry or like a niche within the industry that really works for them, and they all manage to be successful in it. And while people say, it's not a viable option because VR is such a niche within the market, it is possible for a company to survive purely on VR,
which is good. I mean,
good,
and more than that, you there is a return to be made on the investment. I think for a while it was a bit of a black hole, but I think the market size is big enough for us to kind of go and make more expensive projects that kind of meet the expectations of console-like experiences, where there's good production values, there's great stories, good characters. There's something of actual value there to come back to. A lot of the early VR titles were just kind of a single mechanic. You pick it up, you've been in it for 20 minutes, you're like, okay.
Yeah,
where's the rest of it? But we have to understand it. It's a new medium, and so gaming and entertainment is just one application. People are making money because they're finding lots of different ways to apply it, and I think that's also encouraging as well. And in some ways, gaming is a way for us. We're leading the way for defining kind of the verbs for the medium. How do you use it? How do you make input? What's meaningful? What works? What doesn't? And I've learned loads as a designer. I had to throw away the toolbox that I'd created over almost 20 years, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. It's not going to work.
It's a completely different way of approaching things. Like, you cannot go with the ideas of normal games into VR because some of it works, but not all of it does.
I think it's that moment, and we do it as gamers, we kind of go, what about this gaming experience? It's amazing. Just imagine that in VR.
Yeah.
And you make an assumption that adding VR to it would make it even better. Well, and I think you need to understand what the technology is doing. It's like a massive opening up of the human-computer interface. It's profoundly transformative, and when you look at it in that regard, the bandwidth is just it's exponentially larger. The ability for us to pour information into your head and for you to experience digital content is huge now. It's absolutely massive, and I think when we understand that there are limitations to that. Moving cameras. Holy shit, man! As much as I'd like to play Elite, no way. No way. Yeah. We still can't. We still haven't figured out how to kind of get over that. We've kind of increased the bandwidth in terms of that sense of immersion, sense of being somewhere. When you look around and it's you're keying in your proprioception into your kind of visual and audio kind of awareness. But we're not bringing along. We're not stimulating the inner ear. We're not stimulating other touch senses. There's so it's a peek into, I think, something that will continue to grow. And then when we start to look at sort of other scary brainwave reading kind of non-invasive ways of actually making input with our minds and our brains and the electrical activity that we generate, that stuff is coming for sure. And then we'll be able to play Elite and I won't feel sick. That'll be great.
Wait, isn't there sorry, I'm just barging in. My name is Janox. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Janox.
There is a streamster on Twitch who only plays games with brainwaves.
Yeah.
She beat Elden Ring with it, and now she's playing Valorant with it.
Yeah, see,
she's beat fucking Elden Ring with her brainwaves.
We can even not even do that with hands.
With our controller. No, she's super interesting. That's the only thing I heard is brainwaves games. So I was like, I know something.
So you think that's the next step when it comes to VR? Is that
nobody gonna? I don't want to predict the future.
Yeah, or is it because it sounds like let's be the very boomer mindset. Let's say it sounds very scary. Let's say for a lot of people, like brainwaves, reading, all that type of stuff. Do you think companies will make that step? Or do you think it's going to take at least a generation or two for people to get on that train?
I mean, there's so much in that question. I mean, what's the time frame? Where's it going to go? Is it scary? Yes. So is it scary? But I think, people got together in angry mobs and smashed weaving looms when they appeared,
Smashed what?
Weaving looms. The machinery that took the skill out of making cloth,
Yeah, which is basically this entire region of Flanders, which did a lot of weaving and
transformative technologies come along and we go, what the fuck is that? I think there's other things there are other kind of aspects of not just human computer interface technologies, but human intelligence and simulation of that. I think that converging with this is, we're opening a real Pandora's box there. And, I think it's only scary if you go into it with bad intent. I think it's with any kind of new technologies, if you want to do harm with it, hey, presto, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
So
I love that somebody came in chat said brainwaves are scary for people with no brains. That's lovely.
Alarming. Yeah.
They're finally gonna catch on.
Right. So Vertigo does VR games.
Yep.
Which ones would we have played?
Well, I mean, our Rotterdam studio has done the hits. I'm going to be honest here.
The other studio. Okay.
Yeah. But those guys, they understood the technology. They understood how to sort of listen to the marketplace, bring something simple and iterate on it with feedback from the people who are playing it. Yeah. Really smart. Really, really smart.
And which games are those?
And that would be Arizona.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I mean, they got the kind of the setting, the kind of the zombie shooter, basically.
So every studio location works on a different project.
That's right. I mean, we in Amsterdam, we were known as Force Field for some years. We were basically co-developing with Meta. Doing work for hire.
And then beforehand, you even had a different name before Force Field.
Yeah, we were Vanguard. Yeah.
Vanguard. Yeah, I remember
because I've heard of Vanguard.
Yeah. I knew a lot of people who worked for Vanguard, like back when they Mouse. I think he still works
Maurice,
there.
He's a senior lead artist. Yeah, I mean, it's a good crew. I mean, the core of the studio has been working together for 20 years almost. So it's a proper mature,
all right,
nice place to work.
Yeah. It's always funny, like how small the industry is. Like, there's always some way you can say, "Oh yeah, like that guy." Blah, blah, blah. It always comes back. It's like some talent is just
That's great.
It's everlasting.
There's the guys here from Climax today, and I worked at Climax for 9 years, and I know all the guys that are here today, and I love coming here and catching up with them. That's nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Unwrap is lovely in the way that just everyone's here.
Well, because so's the talent. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah,
so many nerds in one place. Yeah, well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, well, that's my medium in my role.
So after being involved in the industry for so many years, let's say, does it still excite you as much as the first day?
I got into the industry and I couldn't believe I got a job making games. I just still have that
What year was that?
In 96.
I was 5.
Mentally, he is still 5.
Oh no, I didn't get past 12 mentally. I think that's what got me the job in the games industry. And I was playing with procedural generation. I was playing with William Latham's Forms program. I was playing with Fractint. I was playing with 3D Studio, Povray, Moray. And then I came across the Doom editor, and it was just like an extension of playing with digital art. And so to do something that I love doing and be paid more than the crappy administrative work I was doing in banks and insurance companies before then, it just was like, it's still like that. It's still like that. I still can't believe I actually get paid to do this.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think also like
31. Oh, you're hired.
I also think like that generation of developers, we both came from a school that taught us how to make games. Back in the day, that wasn't a thing. You just got into it, but purely by passion and purely by experience and purely by being, let's say, like a wacko in like the best way of possible. Like what's the right way of saying it? Like
a non-conformist. Let's put it.
Yeah. You're basically just jumping headfirst into this industry, which was madness if you think about it. It's this industry that really pulled in these very diverse characters and talents purely because of the love for the medium. And now it's like you can educate yourself. It's every day. But back in the day, it was just a mystery.
Believe me, I had to ignore my teachers at school. Like this, you can't study science and technology and the creative arts. No, you go one way or the other. You've got to make a choice. And I was just like, no, they're both relevant. Could you not see how it's part of the same thing? No, you've got it. I was like, fucking hell. Yeah.
You can swear as much as you want.
You can say cunt and fuck all you want. But the amount of times I've heard teachers say the wrong thing, and people complaining about it, like teachers said this and I followed and I shouldn't have. It's.
Don't get me wrong. My art teachers did a great job. My science teachers did a great job. It was the school itself. It was more about the kind of the institution of education. Sort of said, these are the paths. These are the routes. Yeah,
we are now teachers, Janox and I, in for 14 to 18-year-olds.
Yes.
And we teach esports and content creation in a
content creation.
Yeah,
he does the content creation. I do the esports.
Yes,
and I also did history of gaming.
Yeah, history of gaming and stuff. Just teach them where it comes from and then show them
like why is it that they can play Fortnite today? Yeah, like where does it come from?
So yeah,
the 14 years old were super bored, but the 17 years old, they found it quite.
There's a huge gap between those two ages, where the ones are like, I'm here because it said gaming on the door, and the other ones are like, I want to make a living in gaming, and it's like just that 1 year between 16 and 17 makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're making steps in.
Baby steps.
Baby, very small fetus steps.
Belgium is always like
10 we're behind on the...
Because we're working with a company that does the same in the Netherlands, and there it's a huge hit. They have like a lot of schools.
And I mean, in UK it's like 17,
in the UK the same.
Schools, I think.
And here in Belgium, this is the first school, and all the parents and grandparents are like, oh no, my kid's gonna game in school, I don't want it. So there's like this huge...
Stigma.
Still. And yet they will go out and buy them Call of Duty for Christmas.
No. But that's the thing is that's what I've been ranting about on our podcast as well. It's always it's guys like us who do this for free, who have to do all this talks,
lobbying.
Yeah, that's a better word. I do the same in the political ways. I try to, because they have no clue. They just don't have a clue.
We had this presentation by a minister. Mm-hmm. That's a different word in English, is it?
It's a government, a political appointee. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a minister. Yeah.
Yeah. So where they had to explain something about content creation, where we would be, we have to put our address online for some reason, and we're trying to prevent that from happening because there is no reason to do that, but just the European law says we have to. And we were trying to find a way around it, and we had this big talk with people in politics, and afterwards we were invited, and we were there because we're one of the biggest on the platform, being Twitch, the live streaming platform,
where we are on right now,
on which we are on live right now. And we were there, invited, and afterwards we were talking to them, and they were like, "So what is Twitch? So what do you do?" And like, do you not? This is your job to know. How do you not know?
They're representing us, but they have no clue what we're doing. Or
I was happy to explain it, but
I worry about the political direction this conversation is going in, and this representation of our political classes. But we
but the issue is that gaming. They don't understand gaming.
They still don't understand.
The people who have to make the decisions about gaming. That's one of the things. Like the school, Digital Arts and Entertainment, I guess. Yeah. They also still have the issue. They're one of the best in the world for years in a row, and still people have this huge stigma. Yeah. It's just insane. Very frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that.
I know, but it's we've been lobbying and trying for years, and it's very demoralizing.
I hope this is just a local problem, because ultimately gaming is more and more mainstream.
Yeah, it's a Belgian problem.
And there's now more kind of intergenerational gaming families, and people play games because their parents play games, and I think that's not. You see that in other places.
Yeah, and Belgium is also like 10 years behind in development and mental state, so it will probably get there, but it's just going to take 10 more years.
Do you notice a difference between countries if the way they look at games, or is it like the Netherlands very similar to the UK? And
I don't know if I've got the kind of the expertise to answer this.
Yeah, I mean, you work in games, you probably have to explain it all the time what you do, or
no. Thankfully, I spend most of my time and effort just helping the team.
Makes sense.
I don't have an external facing role really, apart from when I come to sort of recruitment events confidence and so on.
Yeah.
So no, I mean I'm ill-equipped to answer that one with any sense of confidence. It's a
No, all good, all good. It's just frustration of ours that we're trying so hard to.
We're very passionate.
Yeah, that's the passion. Yeah.
Don't give up, because the demographics will change, and
I know.
all of a sudden everyone you'll be like,
every day there's another gamer.
Yeah.
It's always one step forward, two steps back issue that we have.
I had a 17-year-old come to me and say, "Oh, I listen to your podcast. I find it very interesting. But half of the time, I have no idea what you're talking about, because it's just we use terms or reference old games that just a 17-year-old was like, what the fuck is that? So I just love that he still listens to us, even though half the time he's not like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I have teenage children. I experience this.
Oh, this is like Doom and Duke Nukem. So, what? No.
do you look different toward at games now that you're a parent than you were before?
I had a crisis of confidence about making games. I mean, at some point in my career, because I was making games about killing people.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think I think that's a part that every game developer goes through.
Yeah, and at GDC, someone just sort of said, wow, don't you lose sleep over this? I'm like, well, why not? Look at what you're doing. You're training people to kill each other. I thought, and I was angry. And no. And I thought, actually, no, probably they've got a point. And I read a really, really good book. I forget the name of the author now. It's The Cost of Learning to Kill, and it was written by a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. forces, and he looked at sort of training methodology that changed after the Second World War to the Vietnam War. And effectively, they basically shipped a whole bunch of bullets to Europe that they didn't use. And they were like, well, that's no good, is it? I mean, you send all the soldiers, and no one did any fighting. So they wanted to change the way that they kind of improved the willingness for people to kill each other, because that was what they figured out was the issue. And so they changed the training program to dehumanize and to sort of stimulate people through getting people to shoot their guns at people and not hesitate, not flinch. Just fucking do it. And program people through getting them to shoot at things that look like people. And then they go to Vietnam, and they go back to Vietnam, and holy shit, man! They shot loads of stuff. They were way better at killing. I mean, it wasn't always the enemy. That was the problem. So he basically became a psychology professor, and he saw the parallels between U.S. military training techniques and video games, and he went, maybe we're doing the same.
We had a talk with a
psychiatrist.
Exactly, and apparently all their research shows the opposite.
The guy is you didn't mention his name. The writer.
Lieutenant Colonel Grossman.
Wow, what a name!
That's just
Dave.
Very
American.
Very American. They're saying there's similarities to the way they're going, but there's nothing about the results, I think.
Well, I mean, video games don't. You still need automatic weapons and all the other shit. So you can't. Video games in themselves don't. They don't enable the killing, but they condition you.
Well, there's no aim
to think twice about.
That the American Army, they created a game called America's Army. Which was actually used to recruit people to. The army. I played it for years.
No, it was great
because it was free to play back then.
I remember it. It was,
And I know some parents thought it was too violent, so they have these maps where they just exchange the guns to like the laser tag versions, and when you get shot, you just set down, which is I'm talking like 15 years ago or something. I was a huge fan, but I don't see myself as a killing machine right now.
Well, let's see. We'll get you angry and give you an automatic weapon. And because it's about that moment where you basically put something in the sights and you've got to pull the trigger. And human beings...
anyone who has adrenaline and you put them in a situation like that can
it's
go there.
It's the no hesitation part. That's kind of,
I don't know.
Worrying.
I think it's more of a...
I mean, the psychiatrist did have... when we invited him to the podcast, he had loads of research papers with him that said like, so this result said this and this result said this, and there was one where There is no correlation between violence and video games except for 20 minutes after losing a game. That's a window where you're very, very angry and could do stupid stuff like break down your wall or throw.
That could also happen with non-violent video games.
Or play Monopoly.
Yeah. I mean, Monopoly.
I recognise both Monopoly and World of Tanks as
Monopoly.
Exactly.
Can be
pure
very
rage.
Exactly, but that's the whole point. Or watch a movie, or it's very frustrating topic.
Yeah.
Again.
It's interesting though.
But let's move back to you.
Now this is an area where I can talk all day.
Hey, so you've created a lot of games. What is like the one game that you always go back to? Like, that's the one that's the one I enjoyed working on most.
It's such a bittersweet story, this one, because it ultimately is a game that never got released.
Oh, that's horrible.
Go on.
Yeah, it was nice. It was no, I have to remember. I was working with Climax, and it was a kind of a Minecraft rip-off is probably the harshest way to call it, but it was a voxel-based game where you could dig and make stuff, but you also had guns. So it was a bit like the combination between Counter-Strike and Minecraft, because it was team-based multiplayer where you could build stuff up, and then you have different classes for different skills and so on.
Fortnite more
or Rust.
Rust. Yeah.
I think and it was made by a really small team, and they made it almost entirely in Lua, and it was a pretty cool game. And it was a disaster area in terms of. And we picked it up as a work for hire to make a version that basically had a game mode that was pretty cool. That included a zombie mode where there's one zombie and everyone else is not, and basically eventually everyone gets infected. And it's a last man standing, and it's a really, really cool game. Especially given that the zombie can dig his way around and he can appear out of the ground, and it was phenomenal, and the zombie also moved faster than everyone else, so it was it was great. So we made a game that was based on this concept of having Team Zombie and Team Survivors, and we made a whole bunch of classes, and we made it PvP, PvE, a whole bunch of game modes, and it was such a gamer's delight. It was beautifully balanced. And we had to play it as a dev team to sort of do the fixes and stuff, and we almost didn't get any work done. Now, when the dev team are really, really enjoying the game that they're making, to the point that you need to be told by the producer, what are you doing? Do some bloody work. Over and over again, and the project was only supposed to have a certain limited time to get it done. And it was that, because it was the joy of the game itself that we experienced collectively as a whole development team across all the disciplines, and that was called Ace of Zombies, and that was going to be published by Jagex, and then they took it and they looked at it and went, God, this is great. We're not going to publish this. We're going to take what you've made here and we're going to make it free to play. Sad trombone noise, please. Please just dub one in here. And so it turned into dig and shoot, and it was pants. And there you go. So that's the bittersweetness. We took what was actually an indie game. We kind of added to it, but being a kind of pro development studio, made something that was genuinely really good fun. We made the zombies, you could kill them with a headshot, okay? And when we made one class of zombie called the Juggernaut, which is a really big guy with dungarees on and no head. And he just had a charge attack. And he could just blast his way through the scenery, nothing. Oh, man. You see the Juggernaut coming. You got to run and hide, man. It's such a cool cast to play.
That sounds amazing, though.
Yeah. So, there you go. I think that's one of my favourites from a development point of view. In terms of the actual end product, I think it's probably a game I made working in VR. I got two now. Another one comes to it. One is just batshit crazy, which was Balloon Chair Deathmatch, which is basically that. You're in a chair. It's suspended in the air by balloons. Oh. You've got a revolver, a fan on the back, and more balloons. And it's a deathmatch game where you're basically floating around a cityscape in a chair suspended by balloons. And if you want to go up, you add more balloons. And if you want to come down, you shoot balloons. And you scoot around. And there are other people in the world, and you've basically got to shoot all their balloons out before they shoot yours.
So you don't shoot you don't shoot the guy
No,
in
no,
the chair.
no. You shoot the balloons.
Beautiful.
So do you shoot back? Do you make more balloons? Do you try and fly and hide away? And we spent ages trying to
Do
make
you
a
blow on the balloons?
No, I mean, we kind of got it down to a kind of and they would reappear, because you needed a two-handed action, you needed a joystick on here to kind of do movement, and you got a gun, and it was, So that was just insane in every single way, and then we added volumetric clouds to it, and then it made it run like a dog, but oh my God, volumetric clouds in VR, suspended, flying around. Where have they gone? Where's the enemy gone? Oh, man.
That adds like a lot of element to hiding and everything else. It sounds
concealment
amazing.
really
Just see a
became
cloud with balloons above it.
And then of course when you died you had the falling to your death experience, which was just
horrible. I had the same idea once. I wanted to make a VR Russian roulette game. So basically you would be sitting across from each other, but my idea was if anybody were to cheat, I would just make them motion sick. I would just turn the camera on them and make them motion sick. That would be the actual punishment if you cheated in the game.
That's harsh. There would be a warning needed on the game.
Yeah, but they're cheaters, and cheaters deserve
motion sickness.
Yeah, they deserve punishment. They won't do it again.
Well,
That's one way of doing it.
But yeah, the idea is basically you just sit across from a stranger and you're playing Russian roulette. That was, I think it's still like...
That's pretty dark. That's
yeah.
And the other VR title that I made that I'm super proud of is a game I made at Force Field, Vertigo, which was National Geographic Explore Antarctica. And we worked with National Geographic to basically make a simulation of being a marine biologist in Antarctica. And we tied together a whole bunch of mechanics. We did kayaking, we did rock climbing with ice climbing, and then we kind of had you kind of set up base camp in the storm, and we made the player do things to make input that blew my mind when I realised how revolutionary it was to get in the kayak. And to get in the kayak, we made you sit on the floor and get in the kayak. You're making input with the entirety of your body. You are acting it out. And again with the ice climbing, you kind of you needed to look around to figure. Sometimes stuff was behind you, and we kind of really kind of put the world of play around you. Use your whole body. And my favourite point was there's a bit where you finally pitch your tents, and it's a terrible storm, and we need you to get in your sleeping bag, and go to sleep. So we get you to lie on the floor to progress and to go to bed. And get on your hands and knees to get in the tent. Now, I know there's that we had to revisit this, of course, because it's kind of slightly ableist, but it doesn't matter. We were getting people to act things out. We were getting people to behave like children playing games, playing make-believe. And then I just thought, this is different. This is genuinely, we're doing something really unlike what I've done before, and that was really, really good.
It's like motion games were a certain thing, but this is the next step.
Yeah, I'm asking you to act it out with your body.
Yeah, and I think that's where VR is gonna be is going to go more and more.
You better believe it.
Yeah. Well, which is great.
I just love the fact of imagining grown-up adults, hands and knees.
Yeah,
it's game. In my tent.
Maybe we should make a baby. We should make a baby game where you really have to crawl on the floor
to escape from a shooter. Oh God!
There was that one VR game, right, where you were a baby and the other guy was an adult, and the baby had to kill himself by drinking poison or something else. That was the game.
So one was the baby who just wanted to kill himself. Another that guy was a parent who tried to avoid his baby killing himself. So he had to, all the power sockets, taped them off. God damn it! Oh no, he's coming. There's a bottle still there.
And that was a multiplayer game. It's so stupid, but that's why game developers are usually the last people who should be making games, because their ideas are really terrible and not a lot.
Do you remember your idea for a game where you had the wheelchair racing game?
I wanted to make a VR racing game,
but
with a wheelchair.
The first time wasn't VR. You just wanted to plug in two mice in one computer and have it to rack up speed. You had to.
Oh, there it goes.
Am I still?
Alles is weg. Noise is weg. Sorry.
Wait.
You fucked something
I fucked up my. But still going to the the stream though.
Well then.
Oh yeah.
Then all is not lost, and I'll
I think it's just our cable.
Yeah. It's.
No.
What the hell did I?
That's lovely noise.
No, it wasn't that.
Everyone says it's fine. It's okay. It's just we can't hear each other.
Yeah, we just can't.
Kind of the issue.
We can't hear each other. I think we can just take off the headphones for now and just continue like this.
You explain your idea.
So yeah, we would use mice, so we could use the scrolling wheels as input for the wheelchair game. That was the idea.
Marvelous. I mean, there's a lot to be said for kind of locomotion systems that use proprioception. So it's those games where you're moving your limbs around, and then you can start moving the camera around because your brain's kind of going, yeah, okay, fair enough. You know, you're making the effort. You've got to be moving. And in fact, every year we have a game jam, and we basically the team is we put pitches forward, we vote on them. And last year? It might have been last year. Someone put the pigeon dating simulator. And you were basically a pigeon. And in order to walk, you had to do the head bob. And then to fly, you had to do your arms. And if you wanted to go forwards while you're flying, you needed to do So you had to act out being a pigeon. And the object of the game was to poop on stuff. And now to let one loose, you had to crouch down. Now, it's a multiplayer game. You've got a bunch of developers. It's the end of the year. And everyone's acting out being pigeons. And doing the thing and this and squatting and
incredible.
It's
I fixed the audio issue by the way.
Is it back? All right.
There was just a solo button pushed in, so it soloed one track which wasn't even on.
Oh, crazy.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so excited about talking about the wheelchair thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what's so great. It's like the same game there was one game where you had to put a controller in the back of your pants and somebody had to,
stuff.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff that's so crazy where you can make with games that's so unique.
It's kind of homebrews.
All right. Okay, let's finish this up so you can continue with the rest of the party because now I think it's already an after party and you can enjoy the fair. Are you here tomorrow as well?
No. I'm heading back tomorrow. No.
Okay.
No, it's only one day this year, but I'll be back again for the portfolio review in May, and no doubt I'll be back.
Yeah. You are also part of the jury for Flanders Game Hub, or not?
No, that's not
okay.
me,
Okay.
No.
I'm joining things together in my mind that shouldn't be joined. So
there's another Jolyon Leonard out there.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
What am I say?
Is there something you want to plug for the people at home that they have to go to, like Vertigo Games, of course? Check out their stuff.
Yeah, I mean we've got new releases. We've just released Seventh Guest. It's coming up imminently. It's phenomenal. It's using kind of some crazy volumetric camera trickery, and it's obviously based on a gaming classic.
Yeah,
and we've worked with some great people to.
So that's a VR version of Seventh Guest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from like I'm also old school PC gamer, so I remember that game.
Yeah. That's coming up shortly. And there's some other releases towards the end of the year that I'm not quite sure if I can talk about yet.
Yeah.
And some
stuff.
And in the new year as well, we've got some stuff coming up
Awesome.
from Amsterdam Studios. So lots of new releases coming up, and
super
awesome. Yeah, because Arizona, of course, is one of the most highly rated VR games out there, I guess. So Vertigo Games is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to the VR space. So
absolutely, I
think a lot of people at home should check out then Seven Guests.
Yeah.
I for sure will. I'm excited.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you so much, Jolyon, for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. It's been a laugh, and I'm sorry it got a bit dark with the kind of the consequential cost of learning to kill, but
But that's
it's something we all struggle with every day.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's the not killing part that's the difficult part.
We're talking about different aspects of gaming, so I think that's great.
Well, it's good to go wide as well as deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
There you go.
All right. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Yeah.